Hello there and welcome back to The Closet Historian and back to my rather old house where I've been renovating things bit by bit, most recently the foyer behind you, the entryway of my home. And just as I was finishing up that room, even though I was very tired and slightly sick and really needed a break, I decided to go ahead and dive right into the next space without really much of a break. And that is because, as lucky as I am to have a walk-in pantry in this house, I had let it get out of control. You know how in most houses there is something called a junk drawer, where you have one drawer full of all the batteries and dried up markers and random bits that you accumulate over a lifetime? Well, I had kind of let the entire pantry room become that drawer while I was working on the other rooms of my house. All the paint cans, all the painting paraphernalia, all the tools, random screws, leftover IKEA bits, pantry items also, bits of china and glassware, bits of Halloween decor. Everything had ended up in this room, thrown about, tossed about in a mix, and I honestly couldn't stand it a moment longer. I needed to do a serious clean out and organization of this room just to begin with, but I decided if I was going to take everything out of there, I might as well do the room up a little. And naturally unable to stop myself at all, ever, I was thinking of spaces like these, either very nice butler's pantries or even nicer china pantries. And although this room is not suited really to become something quite this fancy, I thought why not go ahead and fake it until I make it. So yes, even though I'm quite embarrassed by the before for this particular project, I'll go ahead and let past me take it away. Okay, we are in the laundry slash what I want to be the future butler's pantry, where I keep currently a lot of butler's pantry things. However, past that there is the actual pantry area. Now eventually I would like to move these machines into this space, but I would have to move the hookups, etc., so I can't do that yet. However, as we can see, this pantry has gotten absolutely out of control, and that is because this is not just where I keep overflow canned things or jam. This is where all of the home reno and tools and paint, etc. have ended up, and they are a mess currently. And these are not messy, but they are mostly empty. There's like a lazy Susan in there. I'd love to remove that. I might remove this entire bay of lower cabinets in here because this is just obviously not working for me. There is also a little broom cupboard closet in here as well that I would love to paint. I'm going to paint this whole space. This is lovely 1970s wood paneling, as we can see. However, beneath it is like actual beadboard paneling. Sad, old, very destroyed beadboard paneling, but they just glued 70s paneling on top of it. Don't really know what that's about. I'm going to try and remove it, at least on this side. And if that goes really poorly, then I'll leave it. But in general, I'm just going to color drench this entire room in a lightest, I guess, pistachio or key lime shade. I believe the shade of paint is called key lime. I can't remember. But as you can see, this is where all of the paint lives and various crap, and all the tools are a mess right now. I would feel bad that my dad is going to see this, except for his tools are also a mess, or at least they are usually. So I feel like he has no room to judge me, unfortunately, because this is what his garage looks like where when it comes to finding the drill bit you need. So hopefully I can get beyond that today. Also, yes, there's a bar in here. I like mixing a craft cocktail. I don't drink a lot, but I do drink like one nice random cocktail with too much chartreuses in it. But I want to organize this by craft supply, extra things like candles, and then maybe even actually just remove all the food out of here. Also, I don't eat cereal, so these are from when my parents have visited, and they're probably ancient, so I need to throw them out anyway. So there's things in here that need to be thrown away, organized, Christmas lights, etc., pumpkins. So I need to remove everything from this room, including maybe these lower cabinets, and then start over and paint everything. So that is currently the plan. I'll update you when I'm, further in. One cold later, I am now nasally, and we're just going to have to deal with that. I have emptied the entire pantry today, something that I started earlier, and I'm going to go ahead and actually remove these shutters as well. Probably should take this curtain rod out of here for this process. These shelves have this shelf paper on them, which clearly is covering an older, potentially very groovy 70s shelf paper. But they are completely stuck to the shelves, and I didn't want to peel all of this off of here. So for $20 a shelf, that's a $60 problem. I bought new wood, and I'm going to go ahead and just paint new shelves and put these down in the basement where they can live for some other future purpose I do not know, but not this one. We do have a countertop issue. Now you can see, obviously there's some sort of a join here, and this has like a chrome edge on it, very 50s sort of vibe. I'm not sure what's going on here. Again, we have this sad old contact paper of doom. And in general, I would like to remove this side of counter and of cabinet. Why? Because I would like the cat box to be here, like completely out of the line of sight, coming down this corridor and like out of the way. So if I can maybe keep this as a shelf, I will, but I kind of want to remove these lower cabinets, which I know seems whack to remove storage, but all of this doesn't have to live here. This can live in the basement, in the attic, or just in a different situation. So it's all coming out of here, and then potentially so is this cabinet. Everything in here is very sad, crusty, old, and decrepit, including this window. This side, okay, so here's an update on the paneling situation. So I think that there's like nice beadboard underneath the faux shiplappy 70s paneling, but I'm pretty sure they have, I mean, if they've glued it here, they've probably glued it everywhere. And getting the glue off of the beadboard sounds like a nightmare. So actually, I am going to unfortunately leave the 70s paneling and just paint it. Again, hopefully one day in my very affluent future, I will have the entire back of my house reconfigured. I would love to have a garage actually right here and like have a door into my house and have this almost be a mudroom / laundry room. One day, my garage is like back there. I would love to have it moved forward, or like obviously rebuilt one here that is attached to my house, so I can go from the garage straight into the house, which is great in snowy environs. The shelves on this side, again, completely wrapped in several layers of old contact paper. I will again just remove these and have new pieces cut. Hopefully that will only be one board of length. Unfortunately, the cutoffs from this side, I was hoping, the shelves are 78 inches long behind me. I was hoping the extra bit would fit here, but they're actually too short, so I'll have to get other shelves cut for this side. But today my goal is to clear out this room entirely and then clean it and then start painting. And this is like a little closet within a closet because we're basically in a walk-in pantry right now. And so it's very dark in here. And you can see, I assume the original wood beadboard that the rest of this room was probably made out of at one time. And it was probably much nicer, but and it was probably much nicer. Also, this Lazy Susan may have helped someone in the past, but she's not here for me. And so now I have to figure out how to remove it, because then I can actually use this area to store things, because I wasn't going to use this because I just find it gross. That's correct. Sorry. Okay, pals, as you can see by the chip and the ancient linoleum, I managed to remove not only the doors, but also all of the nonsense and still leave the counter. It turns out it was well supported underneath. In fact, the shelf in there was also very, very well supported. So I got to use the sledgehammer and go to town with the sledgehammer and the trusty crowbar and take out all of my pent-up aggression towards, you know, anything that is not moon joy in the news cycle. Basically, I dispensed on what remained of this storage solution. And so you know, my arms will probably feel that tomorrow, but maybe it was good for me in some ways. Maybe it was good for me. There is a sad bit in the floor here. I don't want to rip this up because usually old linoleum, you can get asbestos-y real fast, so I don't want to bother. I will have to wash it, obviously, as best I can with the circumstances at hand. But I will probably put a rug and also like one of those mats that gets the litter out of the kitty's paws, because I want to be able to put the litter box in this zone. It has been in this zone, like right in the middle of the room. Now I can tuck it underneath here, and I can maybe even install a curtain across here, and it can be a secret litter box zone, which what is more fun than that, right? It's like a fort for the kitties, and I don't have to see it. Fantastic. I do have a gallon of paint, and here is our color. You're thinking, Bianca, is that white? Is that ivory? No, the light in here is just really yellow. This is the palest pistachio cream. And so I'm gonna make it radiate in here because it's dark and dingy and sad. So I think a bit of a radioactive ivory green shade will help the situation. And honestly, I'm too tired to, after taking all of this out, and then I changed my sheets and vacuumed the top floor of my house. So I'm too tired to do all the painting I wanted to do today, but I'm going to get a little bit of this on the walls just to see what it's going to look like for my own personal satisfaction. Okay, I was able to get the contact paper off of these shelves as well, which is awesome because now I could just directly go ahead and paint them. And I was able to get it off of all of this linoleum here. This side was obviously added at a later date when they painted it this sort of flesh pink color. What is it about fleshy pink? But I wanted to show you the contact paper underneath the contact paper because I thought you groovy folks would want to see what was underneath the brown grid contact paper. Far more groovy an option. I assume mid-60s to mid-70s vibes going on here. But I'm going to go ahead and peel off the last of that and actually give this a quick knock down and clean before I paint this surface, in addition to the new shelves I have slotted in where the old shelves were. And then obviously I've got a first coat of mint on the walls here before I decided to just paint everything in C2. It's not the best plan, but again, it's already going to be goopy in here, so might as well go with it. But I'm happy to now have this more atomic kind of linoleum counter in here. And I think instead of leaning in a more kind of lingerie direction, now we're going to have to go with something a little bit more 30s, 40s. Yes, I've already put some things back in here. And yes, I still need to remove them again and then keep cleaning. But you know, one thing at a time. I've got some green baskets I picked up at Home Goods to store some paper stuff, tissues and stuff. In here, I'm going to do a curtain all along this zone, but finding the perfect fabric. I've been at it for several nights in a row trying to find a fabric I like for right here. It has to be kind of 30s or 40s and yet not too like kitschy cherries. So working on it. But as you can see, I have painted this entire room, this key lime, lovely minty green color, and Oliver is here. Hello, buddy. Hello, thank you. Yes, you're right up in the camera. Good job, buddy. Hello, bub. You need to be as close to me as possible. I'm sorry, I'm over here. I was talking to the people. Anyway, they can see it's green. The little door to the closet is green. Everything is green. The lightest possible green. And I am absolutely in love with this. It's called, I think it's called key lime. This color, I will double check that. It's called St. Augustine. I knew it was something to do with Florida. The Florida Keys, key lime, Florida, St. Augustine. Anyway, this color is called St. Augustine, which is from PPG or Glidden. I also think it kind of looks like melted mint chocolate chip ice cream without the chocolate. So like melted mint ice cream in a way. I am absolutely in love with it. I need to clean my window panes. I also kind of want to make a piece of stained glass to hang in front of the top window. And then I need to make a little curtain, of course, for the lower window, just to keep things nice in here. And I've painted all of the things. I need to add on a piece of trim along this corner just to clean that up a little bit. But I will get to that not tonight because painting all of this, including all the shelving and the underside of the shelves and the ceiling and everything by hand with a paintbrush has really taken it out of me this weekend. So I painted that all in 2 days and my body is feeling it. And the top of this, and I peeled off all of the old contact paper, which is nice. These are brand new shelves. The other shelves, I was able to get the contact paper off and therefore they are the same as it ever was. And obviously this is an old drop ceiling of some kind and it's not perfect and it's a little bit bowed, so yikes. But it seems stable enough. I'm about to get up there and find out because I'm going to be taking this light down and putting a new light up. So hopefully I can get that done tonight. If not, I will do it tomorrow and then I will show you. And then I get to start bringing stuff in here and reorganizing this room, even though I'm still waiting on making the curtain and putting the curtain rod up, possibly painting down here as well because the old paint is flaking off the walls and I'm worried that if it's lead paint, I don't want those chips around. So just to encapsulate it in some latex at least solves part of the problem. It won't be pretty, but at least it will be a slightly tiny bit safer that way, I think. And this little guy is just precious and needs to not be in here because I still have to clean this floor. So he really shouldn't be in here too much. He normally would not care about this room, but because I'm in it, he cares. which is hopefully how it goes. Over here, I have some kitchen cabinets above my laundry machines. And this is where I store my like barware and teacups and drinkware, etc. And I'm actually hoping I can move this stuff in here. We'll see how that goes. Normally the cats don't climb in here at all. I've never caught them climbing in here. Usually they don't get too investigative of stuff unless I'm in that room. So as long as I don't hang out in here too much, they shouldn't follow me in here. So we'll see. This is not the final arrangement, I'm sure, but I've started to move the china in and I'm in love with this room. Oh my gosh. I still have to reinforce this shelf that holds the bulk of my like dinner plates because it scares me that they would all break. The cats don't really mess with it, or at least they haven't yet, knock on wood. It's just like, if any shelf I do not want to fall, it would be that one. Especially because this pattern in particular, I've never seen it anywhere, and it's not even on replacements. It like doesn't exist. And it's so cool. It's a 1940s spiderweb porcelain plate. I forget who makes it. Who was it? I don't remember. It is Royal Worcester. And it's so fun. These appetizer plates are from Park Chateau, which are just from like Home Goods or TJ Maxx, etc., etc. But they go quite well with this other set here. And this is my, like what I consider like my china. Not that I got married and chose a china, obviously. I am a crazy cat lady. But this is Evening Majesty from Noritake. Some of these have different back stamps on the bottom. This was a set I collected over on Etsy and eBay in life. Just trying to pick up different pieces. I would love to have the teapot and the sugar and creamer one day, but can you imagine how expensive that would be? But I would love to collect the serviceware pieces in this, I guess. But I do have a set of 6. I think I only have 4 of the teacups and 4 of the shallow bowls. But I do have 6 bread plates, and then yeah, here's the 4. And these gorgeous gold plates were a gift from a viewer, so thank you so much. They made it here safely from very far away, and they're going to be living with Evening Majesty, which would look amazing on this. And also, most of my china is pretty interchangeable. Like I could put the Noritake on this black kind of stoneware. This is kind of green stoneware that's made in Portugal kind of stuff, which can be put onto the green, what is this called? You know, they make the cabbage plates mostly, but I have the butterfly pattern, butterfly and wheat sheath. I have 3 of the chargers so far. I would need to get a 4th charger and then eventually more, but these are really notorious for crazing. And so I'm trying to find pieces without crazing, and they actually are just 2 collectibles. So I only have 3 so far. And this is a Grace tableware, again, just a transferware pattern from Home Goods that actually I picked up these plates before I had like moved into the house properly. When I first came out here, when I first bought the house and took ownership. So before I had moved here and I didn't have any plates, we didn't have anything to eat off of. These were the first like one of the first purchases I made for this house. So this set will live here for when I'm feeling kind of bohemian, I suppose. And there's the peacock that go with the plum and pink dinner plates here. And these black and white, I think again are Grace. Yeah, Grace tableware. These were on super sale at Home Goods, and I don't think I would have picked them up full price, but they will again interchange with all my other black so well for kind of more, I don't know, Halloween or, I mean, this is year round for me, but like Halloween or kind of Alice in Wonderland, more kooky, fun things I think this will work well with. Yes, these gold leaf chargers, these are ceramic, like made in Italy. Gold leafed chargers are so cool. They're star shaped. So fun. I love a good charger, and they are quite hard to find, which is super annoying. And I have moved the alcohol into this side, which used to be tool storage, but now there's all the various liqueurs. I don't like to drink a lot, but I like one specialty cocktail a couple of times a week. So here's where all that lives. And of course, Luxardo is just too tall to go anywhere. So I need to find a different maraschino I like that's shorter. Not because I don't like Luxardo, but because it just doesn't fit. Every other bottle is the same height except for Luxardo. They have to be special. But this is where all of my cocktail glasses and some of my glassware is. I do have 2 more of this coming. I found these on Etsy and I was able to find 2 more on Etsy, and I couldn't, that was it. So They're kind of a hand-painted water goblet or wine goblet. We'll probably use those for water. These I again picked up really early on when I had just first moved in here with my mom when we were antiquing in Boston Spa, but they are not antique. They are actually made by Martha Stewart, and they're super vampiric and delicious. They're like a little bit more opaque at the like bowl, and then super vampiric and amazing. These again were Home Goods finds because I need to get out of that store. Those were Home Goods. These are vintage or like antique. These are old Libby glasses, I think, that I've had for ages. So I wish I could find more of this pattern, honestly. I should have bought more when I had the chance, because now when I break them, I have 4 of each, and when I break one, I'll be very sad. But I have a huge backstock of my favorite coupe glass here, which I grabbed a set of 6, I think, originally up north of Saratoga Springs in Glens Falls, New York. There's a little shop up there that has really good glassware for really inexpensive. I think they were like $8 or something for a bunch. And these I actually got recently at an antique store really close to me. And I got all 8 that they had because they had these very fun etching on them. And I just thought they were a little bit older, maybe. You would think maybe mid-century, but they're a little bit uneven. Like some of the glasses are taller than others. There's a couple of bubbles in them. So I'm wondering if they might be a little bit on the older side. And then these are, again, a modern coupe glass with golden bees on it, because why not? And I do like to mix, obviously, a specialty cocktail. So this is now where the cocktail corner is. However, I can't mix cocktails in here because I don't have a sink, obviously. This corner was super messed up, so I actually clawed away at it a little bit today, and I found a piece of corner trim that would work. Of course, it is stained brown, so I will have to paint it to match St. Augustine tomorrow, but the glue is still setting, so I just have that glued in place and hoping for the best. Which I do actually have a trim piece on the back of this shelf for the plates to rest against, so I didn't have to buy like plate racks. They stay kind of propped up by the other plates as well, but just so that nothing ever slips off, I have this piece of trim I have glued and nailed down here. I will actually paint this to match again tomorrow as well and reinforce this shelf. And then the last thing I want to do in here is for the jadeite teacups. I actually am going to have a narrow shelf that goes above the door, so I have to cut that down, install that, and paint that, and then the jadeite can live up there. I do love me some jadeite. Clearly I need one more because having 7 is ridiculous. These plates are from Anthropologie, and I've had them since I was probably, I think, 16, 17 years old. I think I got them at the sales section at Anthropologie, and the colors work perfect in here, and they're not particularly precious, but I put them on some plate hangers and hung them up in here. I would actually love to get a old-fashioned wall telephone, like a candlestick telephone, to hang in here, because I think it would be very funny to have an old style telephone, as if, you know, the people in this house were like forced to finally install a telephone line and they stuck it in the back butler's pantry. So I kind of want to put a wall telephone there. I did switch out my switch plate for something prettier. And you can see, I mean, it's a goopy, sad mess in here, but it's so much nicer than 70s paneling. And now we could pretend it's painted shiplap instead, which is slightly trendier. I do need to clean the paint off of the windows still. I should probably do one more coat on the interior of this. But I did find the curtain rod that goes here, so that's good, so I can make some curtains. And then I put some various bottles on the ledge here because, of course, that is quite fun. And I have 2 giant apothecary jars. The lid for this one is still in my car, so I have to get that. And then I have my Cosmic Crisps in pride of place, naturally. And just outside that door, actually, in this little weird hallway space, I have moved a lot of the pantry-ish things that should be in my pantry. But, of course, I'm now making it to a China pantry instead because I like China. But above my washer and dryer here, I have moved, instead of, I used to have the glassware in here, but now that the glassware is in there, I can put actual food in this part of the pantry, which is useful. Okay, I have painted the little bit of trim, or at least put the first coat on, the little bit of trim that is here so that you can tilt up against the back here. I also added in 2 L brackets here because this shelf is resting on just the edge of this because nothing is straight in here. And so I added these 2 L brackets just to reinforce this shelf. It's resting on these side bits. Also, the shelf is like a tiny bit too long, so I really banged it in there. So the tension of it is like kind of being held crosswise in the shelf itself. But just to feel secure when I'm putting heavy stoneware kind of things on it, I put in these little L brackets for this shelf. But because the next shelf down holds like my nice china, not my $2 from Home Goods china, but like my legit china, I put in these babos, which is a much bigger bracket. These are like layered reinforced bamboo, it seemed like. I had to give them a sand before I could even do this first coat of paint on them because they came kind of shiny. So I had to sand these down this morning, which I was not the most pleased about. But I did some really long nails because behind this fake paneling, there was real wood paneling. So I wanted to make sure that, and I said nails, I wanted to make sure the screw went all the way through this paneling into the wood paneling behind it and possibly even hit part of what we believe would be called a wall. So I really screwed those in there with some long screws and then just used a little short screw to connect it to the shelf itself so it wouldn't poke through. But I added this L bracket and another one over here. So 2 along the length of this. It again has this little nubbin that someone nailed to the wall back in 1934 that is actually cracking a little bit. So I really wanted to reinforce this shelf just for peace of mind. It again was already pretty sturdy, but when you're putting your fancy china on it, you know, maybe a little bit more reinforcement is needed. And now I have to do a second coat of paint so that I can put all of the things away again. Is this pattern not the best? Unfortunately, it seems quite rare, especially in the black. Occasionally I see it in the dark green, which is not like I don't like dark green, but I only have one dinner plate and I would love to have more. This is Coverswall China. Caverswall, England, get your act together. But I just love this rather Japanese inspired. Ooh, it's so pretty. Now for subtlest, most unnoticeable changes ever, I'm going to go ahead and switch out this handle that I may have gotten paint on. This kind of mid-century handle, I'm going to go ahead and switch that out for a slightly earlier 30s or 40s kind of Bakelite with a chrome stripe handle instead that matches the chrome on the side of the counter, and I think it's just slightly more 30s as opposed to the kind of 50s looking. I don't know if that was supposed to be chrome at one point, but it's definitely brass looking now. Little guy here. There's not anything technically wrong with that, but I just thought that this would be fun. I do have a new latch coming for right here. I'll probably keep and clean up the old one, but I just wanted to put a black one here to match the hardware I'm putting on the cabinet. Not that it matters. Now I did go ahead and move everything back into here because I decided not to paint in here. And this is actually much more organized than anything in this pantry has been in months. I put all of the gallon paint, all of the quartz are up here behind stuff. All of this is like painting supplies, and a lighter. And then we have light bulbs, masks, rope I use for when I buy furniture. This is all nails and screws. There's spray paints and then of course wood glue that you might want to grab quickly. A measuring tape you might want to grab quickly, gloves, some more cleaning supplies. Then I have like all the small appliancey things here. So I have, not appliance, but tools. I have the electric staple gun and then all of the charging ports for the various battery powered tools, the drill, etc. are all in here. I don't use those things often enough that I need to have them like out and ready to charge at any time. So those are going to live back there. More painting supplies are up here. So it is all at least kind of organized now, and then down below cleaning and then the big stacks of paint. But the reasoning for actually not painting in here is because this is the original wood beadboard that I think could be from the 1890s. Like it could be original, either that or like a 1920s or 30s version of this room. So I think it's more fun actually to not be the person who finally painted this. I'm pretty sure it's been here for 100 years. And because it is still wood, I shall leave it that way. But the outside is minty fresh. Very minty fresh here with our St. Augustine paint. I've never been to Florida, but I do like mint green. All right, pals, here is how the China pantry, the butler's pantry, the CD-ROM disc, I don't even know what that is. It's crafting supplies and HTV vinyl, but clearly I need another curtain. The pantry is done for now. Woohoo! And we can see I went for a quilting cotton curtain here. The litter box is behind here, as evidenced by the litter trapping mat that at least matches the green of the floor. But this fabric is a Rifle Paper Company quilting cotton. I can list the name of this one or link to it and the Etsy shop where I picked this up below. And this fabric shop actually was right here in the Hudson Valley of New York, so it didn't take too long for the fabric to get to me, so that was nice. But this is the ivory colorway, and I thought this was just in between the kind of like Marie Antoinette pastel vibes I would love to convey in this sad, sad old pantry. and something 30s or 40s that would work with the kind of linoleum that I'm inheriting in this space. And I just made a couple of quick cafe curtain panels here. Nothing fancy or particular. I did pre-wash my fabric so I can throw these in the washing machine, of course, because that will need to be done after time. And I just put these on a cafe curtain rod that I picked up from Wayfair, so I will link these little cafe curtain rods, which are really similar to the ones that I already have in my windows here and the rest of the house. But here is what the curtains look like in the window. This is only a 1 yard of fabric to make these curtains, and this window is, I think, 20 inches wide, 21, something like that. So really, I probably needed another half yard to make these as full as you're supposed to. You're supposed to take the measurement and then double it, which is what I did down here, and it's nice and full. But up here, you can see these curtains are a little less ruffly than they should be, but you know, budget and time restraints in life. I still think it's quite cute, much better than the curtain that I had here before. Just a reminder of what the curtain here looks like before. I think we've made an improvement. And I, of course, painted the countertop or the large shelf on this side, but because I found vinyl underneath the contact paper, that of course matches the linoleum on the floor as well, I just kept that on here, gave that a good scrub. I scrubbed this much more than I have scrubbed the floor because of reasons. And this does have that kind of chrome edging on it that's very like 30s, 40s, 50s, very early mid-century. And so I wanted to keep some ditzy florals with my other choices as well. I think that gives a kind of a feed sack cotton almost vibe, which I was really hard to find a more 30s or 40s appropriate fabric that wasn't too kitschy for me. As kitschy as I can be, we just got rid of the cartoon apples in the kitchen, so I didn't want any cartoon apples in here. Now, I'm not positive these giant apothecary jars need to stay in this room, but they were just on super sale at Michael's, and so I picked them up, and I have nowhere else to put them right now. This one's collecting empty matchboxes currently, and that could be a fun way to use them. There's always so many options on ways you can fill these bottles with different things. I thought about faux lemons as well, but then I thought, you know, I'm not really a faux fruit gal, as again, previously established. So this may not be these apothecary jars' final destiny, but they do look quite fun in here. And then, of course, I've collected other colorful glass bottles from around my house, mostly in the purple colorway. I have been taking stained glass classes recently, and that is my first stained glass piece that I've ever made. Let's just say there's a lot of room for improvement in my next piece. So I have a lot of learning to do. But this side still has the glassware, including the tiffin that I picked up recently, which again has that clear kind of gold rim on it. Haven't seen any more like that. I would love to find, I'm not sure if this is the water or the wine glass, but I'd love to find the other to go with it. And then I have all the other glassware I showed you already. The bar is still here. We're well stocked, ready for cocktail hour since my mom is visiting this next week. And I would love to be able to serve her cocktails, even though she's a wine girly, so I need to pick up some red wine, honestly. And now I have plenty of glassware to serve it in, because it's all displayed nicely in here and is very fun. Do we think these are for wine or for cocktails? What do we think? I would like to use these as wine glasses, but it is kind of more of a cocktail size. But that would be like a large cocktail or a small glass of wine. Hard to say. On this side, this basket is actually currently empty, so that's room to grow for more china or glassware, really. And I could always move that basket somewhere else. Some spare vases and a porcelain cat, etc. are here. This one has those little plate separators that I use between the plates and napkin rings, and this has cloth napkins currently. And then here is the teacup shelf, as promised. Mostly has the jadeite on it, but I thought there was just a little bit of extra space where I could sneak the teacups. So I have my Evening Majesty teacups and the jadeite up there. These are about as different as you can get in teacups, almost. This is technically fine porcelain. This is Japanese Noritake porcelain, and then these are Fire King, which were given out for free in the 1930s and 40s, I think. So they're highbrow and lowbrow mixing together in this, again, kind of cobbled together old back pantry. These are Georgian reproduction glasses. These are actually from Martha Stewart again. She makes nice glassware. What can I say? I can link these below because they are gorgeous. And I'll also link you to what the original Georgian glasses look like. These are a bit larger, but they still give a very fun look. And I love the color of that green. Then I have my tortoiseshell set here. These are just from Home Goods. Most things in here are from Home Goods, honestly. These are actually from Home Goods or TJ Maxx. I think it was TJ Maxx because I grabbed these in like 2008 or 9 when I first moved out of my parents' house and moved into my apartment in LA when I was going to university. One day we'll tell that full story because it was not a fun apartment to live in, let me tell you. But I needed plates, and those were the ones I chose way back then. I think they were like $2.99 each. I did switch out one of the Anthropologie plates for this Spode plate here. I think this one was Spode. Yes, Spode Archive Collection Blue Rose, introduced in 1826. I would love more of this. It's very, very fun. This is a dark brown transferware on a mint green background. And as we can tell, I quite like a minty green, so I wouldn't mind having more of that set someday. But it is kind of hard to collect because they're not currently producing it. But we still have all the same sets that you saw last time in here. I don't think there's anything in particular that I didn't discuss. This set I just recently picked up and you saw in that antiquing video. These are made in Germany, Bavaria plates. I would love to find more of those. There's the platter back there. And actually the only other thing that is new in here are these lapis plates. So I'll show you those in just a second. But the chargers live here on the bottom and then some dinner plates on top of them. These are Eaton Fine Dining plates. And these are of course from one of their Halloween collections. And I grabbed these on eBay before I even bought this house a long time ago. So these are things collected over time. I'm not a mad person who filled this room just for this video, I promise. Although I am a mad person. Hey you, what are you doing there? What do you think, this is your bathroom? It's my china pantry, young lady. But we have the Evening Majesty and the gold hanging out together. Then we have the black and the green stoneware. These I actually picked up on replacements. Love me some replacements browsing. That's a good time. And over here we have a small stack of Fitz and Foyd Renaissance. This is the Cinnabar colorway. And I have 3 of the bowls because one of them sadly broke in transit to me. But I picked these ones up on eBay. These are a very similar Cinnabar, but it's a different style name. I forget what it is. I can put it on screen. I only have 2 of these dinner plates. I'd love to get 2 more, if not 4 more. That way I can use them on this, again, Cinnabar Renaissance charger. This is a different glass charger that I picked up at Home Goods on super sale. I think they were from Halloween, so they were only $2 each a couple months ago at the Home Goods. Down by Trader Joe's on the south side of Albany. One likes to go to different Home Goods as well. It's like going to the thrift store. You never know what you're going to find. But these were a more recent edition, and I should not have bought these. And these were made expressly for Neiman Marcus, although I don't think they have them anymore. I'm not sure exactly when these are from, probably within the last 20 years or so. And I absolutely adore them. Look how good they're going to look with the gold. Let's just put the gold in front of them. Yeah, that's pretty tasty. So it's hard to find a good charger, and lapis is not something I can deny. Just imagine if I can get a hold of some nice Imari dishware, how nice that would look on this rich lapis blue. It's just delicious. I actually don't mind how it looks with the Bavarian actually too. And obviously anything with gold could be paired with these. But we can clearly see, like many before me, I do not require any plates. And yet they are one of my very favorite things to collect. I'm not sure I will keep these for forever because I don't reach for the stoneware nearly as much now that I have porcelain I could reach for instead. But I do like that color and it's good to have a white plate. So I will keep them because I already have them, honestly. And speaking of fine dining, this is my silver plate set and this is my gold plate set. The gold plated flatware I have was $40 for this set. I think it's a set of 8 or 10, I can't remember. I'll show you in a second. That I picked up at Colorado Antique Gallery. I walked past a table and they had this set of gold plated flatware for only $40. And I was like, I don't need it right now though. It's before I bought this house. And I was like, do you know what I do? And I walked back over there and I grabbed it. So, and then this silver plate set, I think it's from 1940s or 50s. It's just community plate. But I grabbed these when I moved into this house. And by I did, I mean, me and my mom grabbed them when we were shopping up in Ballston Spa. But these are actually steak knives that I grabbed. Hello, it's me. To match. They take the knife handles and they put stainless steel steak knives onto these replacements. So if you have a silver plate set that you can't find steak knives for, which often silver and silver plate sets did not have sharp knives with them, you can actually have like replacement knives made at replacements. So that's where I got those buddies. But this set has most of the serving pieces still with it. I thought it looked slightly Edwardian for this 1890s house. It's a little bit deco, honestly. It's really veering into that 1920s, 30s vibe, but it's still quite fun. And if you're going to be getting new silverware for a house, like if you're moving out on your own for the first time and you need flatware, it's just about as expensive to get vintage silver plate as it is to get brand new flatware. This set with the box and the serving pieces was like $95, I think it was. I don't think we even broke 100. I think it was 95. So to get this many place settings of any flatware probably would be around that anyhow, unless you're getting like the most bargain stuff or are at IKEA or something. Ah, and yes, Tudor plate. I'm not actually sure, because I know these are community plate, but the actual pieces are marked community, so I'm not actually sure if this box was originally with this, and that's what this was called. Couldn't tell you if this is the original box for this set. It's too long ago now, and not in my past, in somebody else's past. And this is a set for 12, so quite a large set for, again, that under $100 price tag, and quite fun to have slightly Edwardian or Art Deco inspired silver plate instead of the run-of-the-mill flatware. And this silver plate set is the set that I use daily. That's why there's some pieces out of here. It's because they're in the drawer in the kitchen. I use them every day, and therefore I don't have to polish them at all because the 1 or 2 forks I have out of here stay shiny from being in constant use, and these other ones stay shiny from being in this box, lucky enough. And I will show you the gold flatware as well, or gold plated, obviously. Not solid gold. That would be, that would mean I could buy another house if this was solid gold. But these are quite fun. They're, you know, on the thin side. They're just stainless steel, I'm sure. Or steel, not even stainless. Plated with gold, which matches so many of the gold rims on the plates. So I think that's quite fun. And this is a place setting for 8. I'm not sure what happened to the, 9 and 10 here. I don't know if they were ever a part of the set. I assume so, but I cannot know. But a place setting for 8 in gold plate for $40 seemed like quite a good deal to me, so I'm happy to have them. And in the end, I actually ended up cleaning the paint off the original one of these little latches because I grabbed a new one and it was so flimsy compared to this one. I'm not exactly sure what this is made out of. I mean, it's kind of rusty even after I tried to clean it and I got this mismatched look. At least all the paint is off of it, but that's the original latch for in here, so I'm sure that's from like the 30s or 40s. And I have no idea what metal it's made out of, but something. I put it back on so that this now works again, and I still have all the paint and cleaning supplies and slight tools and stuff that I showed you in the broom cupboard in here, and also the broom and the mop, etc. But, oh, I didn't show you the new handle. There you go, new handle on here. In this we have, again, spare tools, the Sawzall, my tool, bag, screwdrivers, hammers, tons of clips. For some reason I have like a million clips. I don't know what I was using those for, but clearly at one point I thought I needed like 80,000 clamps, so I have a bunch of those in here. And I have more tote bins of random craft supplies and random stuff, but at least they're pushed out of the way where that lazy Susan used to be, and now I can fit all this in here instead, which is nice. But it's safely tucked away with its new Art Deco early plastic handle. And then in here I have like extra paper towels and paper products in general, and again that tote full of HTV vinyl and a random CD. I honestly want to just move that CD so I don't have to look at it all the time. Although I might, again, put another one of these curtains across here when I can afford to pick up 2 more yards of fabric, which sadly is not today. And overall, I am super, super pleased with how this project came out. I'm not, my body isn't jazzed about jumping right into that and the sledgehammering of taking out those old shelves and all the physical labor of painting this room right after I had just finished the foyer. Did wipe me out a little bit, especially because I already had a cold, but at the same time, imagine how much nicer it is to walk in here when it looks like this, and then it all does feel rather worth it. And yes, I know many of you will be absolutely horrified that I have my china pantry and the cat's bathroom in the same small room. I promise that no matter what, because I let dust accumulate so easily in my home, that I would have to wash the plates before I set the table anyhow, so that is part of the whole plan in general. I just have them displayed there for me to look at mostly because it's more fun than having them tucked away in a china cabinet. But as usual, I digress. I hope you enjoyed seeing how this project, as it were, came together today. And thank you so much as always for watching. And a huge additional thank you to my patrons who of course make my work and all of these videos possible. And as always, I'll be back with more sewing, vintage fashion, costuming, crafting, and decorating real soon. So I'll see you then. Bye.